I think my question is for Calam mainly. What was the most surprising thing you learned about yourself in your career as an actor, portraying an actor, a legendary actor like Cary Grant, going through the same process, auditions, rejections, and then finally being recognized for his talent, even if it was decades before you, what was the most surprising thing you learned about yourself and about your career?
Have we met before, by the way? Did we do it?
Yes, we have.
For Bridgerton.
Yes, we have.
I thought I recognized you. No, good question. I think what did I learn? I mean, I think, watching, like, when I was preparing, like, for the auditions, as well as, for the time when I knew I was doing the job, I hadn't started yet. I think something that I loved about watching him, and I feel like is ever present, even in the Hitchcock films where he's slightly like darker, there's more kind of complex stuff going on. But I love the screwball comedies so much. We didn't answer that question about
what's I totally go on, you
but anyway,
say that.
Yeah, I think especially in those early films, like my favorite is The Awful Truth, but Bringing Up Baby, Arsenic and Old Lace, all those like silly ones. He has such a great sense of fun, and I think that's something you can lose as an actor these days, or maybe it's just things that I've done. But everything's so heavy and intense in your process, and you can tell he's having an absolute
he's a performer.
ball. Yeah. So I think that was maybe the thing that I took the most from like thinking about his performance life as an actor rather than his personal life.
And even coming up with that voice that is so iconic, that it's his voice. It's not even an accent. It's not real. It's his transatlantic thing that worked. So it's so independently him. He's a star in his, you can't really compare. It's like Marilyn Monroe, all those people at that time that were huge. It's because they kind of just were so individually it was an essence that can't be kind of really recaptured. I don't think they're just individuals in their own right.
Yeah,
my favorite film was called Callum's laughing because before he said, what's your favorite Cary Grant film? And I went, I know it, but I can't remember the name. God damn it. But it was at Christmas. I was just after filming at Christmas. I had some time on my hands and I was just started watching loads of Cary Grant movies, and I watched, it's something like The Angel, and it's a black and white movie.
Is it The Bishop's Wife?
Yes, The Bishop's Wife. Thank you so much, Emma. I never remember any names, but it was black and white, and usually I really struggle to watch black and white movies. So I watched It's a Wonderful Life last year for the first time, and it really blew me away. And then I watched The Bishop's Wife, which is a beautiful film and one of his first, but he's just so charismatic, and I think I'll watch it every Christmas now. It's really good.
Hello, Laura, Dyan. It's so nice to meet you both. I have a question mainly for you, I think, Dyan, because it was obviously a very personal thing for you to write, now produce. So what was the one thing you knew you had to get right for the spectators and fan of Cary Grant who are going to discover a new aspect of his life? What was the most stressful part in all of this for you?
Reliving it. Because, working with Jeff Pope, who wrote it, whenever you go into difficult moments in life, it's difficult to bring them up. And even though it's healed, and it's been healed for many years, I think that this piece, quite honestly, has even brought more of a healing. I look at it now, quite honestly, and I wish that I could have loved him then the way I understand love now, because I think I could have helped him, because he was a very complicated man. He had a lot in his life that really, in his childhood, that was hardly bearable for anyone. And he had the courage and the strength to go out and face the world alone and do what he did. But I was very young and didn't really understand why things were going south, so to speak. So it was all those things that I'm talking about. It was thoughtful, it was endearing, it was stressful, it was But Jason and Laura have made it, they've both done such a wonderful job. Really wonderful.
Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you, really.
Thank you.
I have a question for you, Laura, actually. What was the most stressful part in portraying Dyan Cannon? Because I'm assuming Dyan was on set watching you. What did you learn about yourself being in that position? And maybe the follow-up question would be, Dyan, what did you learn about yourself as well, seeing Laura portray you? You know, maybe it was a back and forth experience for you.
Well, Dyan wasn't on set. We were mostly on the phone, talking.
Purposely.
Yeah, you sort of made that choice, didn't you? But what did I hope that I would take a little Dyan with me, I suppose, going forward.
Oh, so sweet.
Because Dyan's energy is so positive and she's so spiritual and optimistic, and so I hope a bit of that.
Did you give
Love
any
this girl.
particular?
This is a question for Jason, but I think Jennifer and Jeff, you could answer as well, maybe if you want. There's a cover magazine at the very beginning of the very first episode that says, "Why does everybody love Cary Grant?" Jason, how would you answer that question, that you dived so much, that you have such a deep connection to him now through your research? So yeah, I was wondering if Jennifer and Jeff, maybe you could answer that as well.
I think he, from an early age when he felt completely unloved by everybody, he found a way to I mean, it became, whether it's natural or whether it's artificial, to make people love him. He was a beautiful young man, and men and women fell for him left, right, and center, and that's what he had to offer the world for a while. When he was, you know, and he also learned how to please because he was on vaudeville stage. He did comedy sketches and stuff, and when he became an actor, he looked at the people he most admired. And he was a very smart man. He went, I'm going to take that off that person. I'm going to take that accent off them. I'm going to take the way that person slicks the hair off them. He built a lovable person. And then he was smart enough to develop script when he went freelance and left the studio system, which no one else did. He chose his directors. He chose the script. He developed the script. He went, I know what audiences like. I know how they'll respond to me. And one of the regrets I have as a fan is that he didn't allow himself and take those parts, which he might have won Oscars. Who knows? He's a very good actor, but he curated the Cary Grant brand on screen because he knew what people would love and admire, and also what looked beautiful, not just him, but what he dressed in. And so why did they love him? Because he went about making that true, and he did it brilliantly. And of course, our story is about how that didn't in any way help. He thought that would make him feel loved and lovable.
I was going to say there's something about him. Well, what we can say is that he was equally loved by men and women who went to the cinema to watch him. He wasn't sort of some heartthrob that men sort of didn't like that women did. And also working class and wealthy people equally liked him because he was classless, which is why the Kennedy brothers admired him. And certainly admired his persona and delivery. For me, why did we love him? I wonder whether we thought there was something slightly lost in it, something about him.
Interesting.
Well, I would say that the reason we loved him is because he had a massive heart. He had a massive heart, and I think it was a broken heart. And I think, often the broken heart leads to comedy, right? As a solution, right? To bring laughter. And he learned how to bring laughter. It was a gift. And I think it's truly amazing that from his childhood, he had the strength and the grit and the vision to understand what to pick from this person and what to pick from that person, and
how to develop the scripts, the stories, power of story.
Yes, how to create this person. But I think at the heart of it, it was his heart. He was an incredibly thoughtful man. If you ever were to read his letters, he was very specific. And yes, he did want to control things, but he cared about everyone. He really did. And not just from a point of view of pleasing them, but he loved people.